Well, we had a 37, 38 degree day yesterday, and it stayed on 27 overnight. So it dropped 9 degrees between the day temperature and the night, and just sat on 27 overnight. Now clouds come in, got a bit windy, and yeah, this is doing something a bit, I don't know, did you see that? Doing a bit weird, but anyway, seems to be going alright down there, but still no reddening. And looks like the cat litter is a dead loss. Can't see any reddening or anything there, so I think cat litter's out. So I'm heading on now to do a bucket to see if we can get, if we can get this effect all in a bucket sort of thing. And I don't know, does that lose its red colour when it's not a warm day or something? There's not enough reductive flammable gas generation to actually cause reduction or something, and does it fix? Is there some sort of fixation of nitrogen from the atmosphere that requires it? I don't know, but anyway, I've set up these 2 buckets here, as you can probably see. So basically, I think we're jettisoning the cat litter. That's definitely going out. That's a load of rubbish. Whether they put some proprietary product in there, you know, something to get rid of the ammonia given off by any urea that's produced in the cat litter, I don't know. But anyway, we're getting into these buckets here, one there sort of thing, both with the standard 6mm by 4 inches. Yeah, 4 inches, because when you put your hands like that you get 4 inches, you see. So if you want a fly trap with 4-inch traps, that's what we're talking about, fellas. That's where we want to head, fly traps with 4-inch traps. Okay, people say it's impossible, but I've seen fly traps of the 3.25 inch sizes that's mentioned in papers and things, where in some parts of the paper they have centimetres instead of inches. People think that's a mistake. I've seen plants with I've heard people talk about it, and I've actually seen plants in the flesh, and they had this strange washed out look, like you've mixed the colourful green of grass with toothpaste. And not a scarier colour on the plants I saw. Prominent trigger hairs, like cacti spines. You could actually see them from the other side of a 60cm walkway. Now that Phil Mann has passed, he's the late Phil Mann, I can now tell you it was in his greenhouse on the second visit. The one that was exactly 1 month away, and of course he'd been down to Albany in the intervening time. And also he got this shipment of quarantine and picked up a shipment because he worked in the department and all that sort of thing. They decided to just give it to him. Maybe the rules were different back then or something, or you know, they could trust him or something. Anyway, he ended up with these plants, and they were absolutely massive. They'd been ripped up out of the wild. I think he said 2 months before out of the wild, so they'd had like a 2-month transit from being ripped out of the wild, going through quarantine and ending up at his place. It's been 2 months. So basically they started their journey a month before my first visit to Phil Mann, and I had my second visit, and that's when I saw them in the second visit. And of course at that second visit, when he'd come back from Albany, he'd also come back with this sort of, it wouldn't say it's a biblis, but it was on the way to being biblis. It was like this grass thing with all these sort of hairs on the outside that had sort of droplets on it, but the droplets weren't sticky. They were just wet droplets. And he showed me, what do you think of this? You know, I thought, well, yeah, it's on the, you know, give it another 100,000 years, you know, might get there. So the first step is we'll get our alco foil. I cut this down the middle. We're trying to do everything really cheap and nasty, so anyone can do it and make sure that it works. So what I want to do is put this in the bottom to act as a generator, so it's activated by the polystyrene and then keeps the polystyrene ticking over, because I don't know if you've noticed that some of the older stuff with the polystyrene looks like it's getting like a degraded look to it, but I think this is where this comes in. You know, it replaces what's being given off, and then everything stays tickety-boo sort of thing. So I'm going to put 2 sheets, one on either side down there, and then we've got to get to the next stage of deciding what to do with the poly. How are we going to do it? We're going to put the straight poly in there. Are we going to mix it with polyurethane, like after all about layering it? A layer of polystyrene, a thin layer of polyurethane, and eventually the weight will press down in it, and the water will build up and accumulate in the polyurethane. keep the polystyrene damp, set off the aluminium, everything's tickety-boo. And of course we probably put our meat somewhere in between. Whether we're going to bring the charcoal in, I don't know, but we might have to do some other ones later on down the track if we learn out that charcoal is acting like a sorting process, you know, turning meat into a type of peat sort of thing. So we end up just doing, you know, meat plus charcoal plus meat, peat, with the polystyrene as a generator, and then the perlite as a sort of sort of store sort of thing, and that the organisms can grow through basically. Anyway, we'll see how we go. But the first step, I don't know how much time I've got on there. Sorry about the story, but you may want to. Okay, maybe it's time to just pause here. We'll do that. Okay, over there.